Okay.
So, like, whenever, women are trying to, push their political opinions on things, or what do you think?
Okay. First, if you're a conservative guy,
Yeah.
and you choose to meet up with a girl with blue hair, or she says, what do they say? What do they always say? Trump voters don't apply.
Exactly.
Or they have half their head shaved.
Right.
If you love an adventure, we get it.
Yeah.
But you are asking for trouble.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's on you.
Quite often.
Yeah.
That's on you.
If you still swipe right on that.
Yeah, you're dumb for putting yourself in that position if you're not sure how to handle this.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And I see it. I see the how do we phrase this? Okay, just to make sure. How to handle a woman who wants to bring up politics on dates or on dating apps. And I deal with it a lot because I live in Austin.
Yeah, it's a big...
Again, yeah, so you might as well have a fixed, what would you say, ability to return, what your response should be.
Right.
And in person, I kind of consider it a shit test.
Yeah.
I consider, because
I agree.
girls really don't care about politics.
Right.
It's something to do when they don't have a boyfriend or a husband or kids that are like little.
Agreed.
So I say either agree and amplify. They go, are you a Trump voter? And you're like, oh yeah, absolutely, go Trump. I mean, if you come out, my truck's lifted. I got the flags. And then you just change the subject. You go, look, I'm not really into politics, but what are you passionate about other than that?
Perfect. That's a good way to handle it.
Or change it over. I'm not into politics, but I love to sell.
Yeah.
You can. Do you ever sell? That. Would you like to sell? That's. I would take it as agree and amplify, which you deal with it, and change the subject.
Perfect.
I don't really, and I think it kind of like, and girls somewhat respect if you go, I'm really not into politics.
Yeah.
But that kind of shuts them down because it's obviously an important thing for them.
Yeah.
So you don't want to squelch it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a guy saying, I'm really into fast cars. You saying, I don't trust a man who drives over 55 miles per hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a damper. So I say agree and amplify and treat it like any shit does. Because, not just like we said, 99% of the time, girls get on board with the man's beliefs.
Right.
Anyway, down the road.
Well, I mean, I look at like some of the girls that we know who are really politically active. Granted, they're all single. And we always are like, if she just had a boyfriend.
Girls don't have time.
Yeah.
For boyfriends and lots of political activism.
Right.
Unless the boyfriend, they get on board with the boyfriend's politics. That's where you always see like the hippie cult leader. He's got 2-3 girlfriends and they're all on board, with whatever crazy beliefs he has.
But my thinking was, as far as the broadcast went, it's like, if she wants to shit test about politics and pretend, even if it's pretending, that that's something that's really passionately important to her, or if she's listing it on her dating apps, even if it gets dampened at once she's distracted with a boyfriend, once she's in a relationship or whatever, she's supercharged, she's on crack about it right now. So it's going to be a little bit of a tricky mountain to get around.
Well, that's where you'll get if she wants to stay with it and won't let it go, like a dog, like on a bone.
Yeah.
Then you excuse yourself from the date.
Yeah.
But if she gets on board and says, okay,
yeah,
well, this is what I like. I've got my kids and we do T-ball year round.
I love it.
If she gets on board, great. Then you've moved on.
Yeah.
And it can stay important. And there's a lot of women that have junior league.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with their husband or their boyfriend, you know.
Right.
They have this thing they're enthusiastic about, but he's like, yeah, she goes to this meeting on Tuesdays, and then like when the rodeo's in town, she's not home at all for a month, and then there's this and this, and I got to go to a ball.
Yeah.
You know,
I
mean,
put a tux on.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, girls are not dumb. They know how to like put something in a silo.
Yeah.
You know, and then you just have some that are combative, but that won't be your problem because you'll already be gone.
Right.
You know, if it's really, really, really important to them and they put it, but I do see a lot of girls use the politics or like, what are your views on abortion? And you're like, what a depressing subject.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's talk about anything else. You know?
Right.
I think it would be best if you're not in that position.
Right.
And if you are, it's a bad position. They have my sympathy.
Yeah.
You know, I stay out of that decision making.
Right.
You know, I don't know enough about it.
Right.
You know, and girls are okay with that if you just plead ignorance, because busy men can't know everything about everything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one subject. You know, and that's where you change. What are you passionate about other than this thing?
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
My kids, or travel softball or whatever the kids are in. 99% of the time.
Well, the reason that I was saying if this is something that she's clearly passionate about and you clearly are not, and you don't want it brought up all the time, go ahead and end the date now, because it's still going to be something that maybe a deal breaker down the road.
Well, I would let it be a deal breaker if it's down, because then she won't say yes to a second date.
Yeah.
And quite often you nail her on the first date, and the politics start going out the window.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't have time for that. I just, we're going out, we're doing this, and then we're going to the lake.
Exactly.
She's like, I don't know.
I love it.
Can you go? And she's like, no, he wants to go to the Speedway. There's a NASCAR race. Think about the girls that we've known that were single for years.
Yeah.
And within the first month of a new boyfriend, and I mean a serious boyfriend, when they get like a serious boyfriend that they're on board with,
yeah,
their life goes into a 180.
All other interests go out the window.
If he travels,
from volunteering to,
if he travels, she's traveling.
Yeah.
If he's into horticulture, she's going to the garden show.
Yeah.
None of what she was doing, none of it matters.
Yeah.
You just don't see it.
She hates to fly, but suddenly she's flying.
She's flying, and she thinks nothing of it. And if you ask them about it, they'll be like, yeah, I guess I forgot all about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they've moved on.
Well,
or I don't like to travel. I like to be here all the time. And now they're like gone for a month.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay. There's no complaining either.
No.
Especially good, classically trained women. They can be the biggest bitch, but then they get that boyfriend.
Yeah.
And they get on board.
Yeah.
Whatever he's into.
Exactly. No, I think that you're spot on.
Yeah. And that's why when you asked, like during the broadcast, right? No, because it's your broadcast and it's where you're coming from. And like say we do a podcast, then that'll be a chance for us both to this is your take and this is my take, and then that allows the listener to make a decision on how they want to approach it.
Yeah.
Because it's like being advised. This is what you advise.
Yeah.
And this is what I advise. And both can be right.
Yeah.
It depends on you and your situation.
I just feel like women who are politically driven tend to be a little angrier and a little less bendy.
Yeah.
And so
you're
more
right.
rigid.
Yeah.
And so it's like if they're bringing it to this, they probably aren't that much fucking fun.
but again, if it's in Austin, it's like you don't see a lot of surfing in Colorado. You see it in California.
Yeah.
So you see more activism.
Sure.
In Austin than you do Fort Worth.
Yeah.
It just comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
The girls moved there and they either absorb it or they had that bent in the first place. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, they're still girls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And look at your parents. Your mom was a total hippie.
Yeah.
Your dad is as straight and narrow as they can be.
And
it
for
all
50
worked out.
years, she's tamped that hippie down.
Yeah, and it works.
It's
I
true.
mean, and even like the couples, I mean, there's like a lot of like DC power couples that you see.
Yeah.
He's Republican, she's Democrat or whatever. But they also know it's a game
Yeah.
when it comes to politics.
Yeah.
And they can probably flip-flop and switch, you know. So it's roles, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And they get along fine, they stay married forever.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I don't think it's a deal breaker unless they bite into it like a bone and won't let go of it, and then you got to exit
Right.
because you're not that interested in it.
Yeah.
You know, you'd rather have fun. You
I
know?
want to have fun. This
I
is
know.
boring.
And most girls want to have more fun than they care about who's elected or
Yeah.
whatever.
This is
You know?
really killing my vibe.
Yeah. And you know, okay, and so second, you mentioned like if you're married and then they decide they want to get,
Yeah.
I think a good thing, and you just didn't think about it. Honey, look at all those old, single, angry women that want you to join this.
Yeah.
You don't want to be 55, 60 years old, divorced, gray-headed,
Yeah.
short hair,
Yeah.
overweight. That's not where you want to be.
Right.
None of these women are happy.
No.
Look at your mom. She's happy. She's been married 50 years. You know.
Yeah.
That would be the number one, because girls want something that's aspirational.
Right.
And if you really look at like most of the organizers on a lot of this stuff, you're like, no, you don't. Is that how you want to end up?
Yeah.
That's not a good look.
No.
You know, 99% of the time that'll squelch it. You know. That's
But
just,
I think that's essentially, I mean, I do like that next step, but I think that's essentially what I said. I was like, you know, play it off as something that is not something that you want to prioritize.
yeah, no. Then she doesn't have time.
Yeah.
No.
She genuinely doesn't. It will take a while. That's the thing. Any of this kind of things, even if it's a new hobby that's genuinely healthy for her or is a feminine hobby, it still has to take time away from something.
And with women, they already feel guilty about everything.
Yeah.
So you can kind of, for lack of a better word, push on that sore point.
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
true.
And 99% of the time, it'll be enough.
It goes a long way.
Yeah. Women, moms, what's the number one emotion for moms?
Guilt.
That's it. Even the best mother, the mother of the year, feels guilt. If they go to work, they feel guilty. If they don't work, they feel guilty. It doesn't matter.
If
you
they
know?
spend time with one kid over another, they feel guilty. If they spend time with the kids over the husband, they feel
I'm
guilty.
spoiling them because I'm with them all the time when they're not in school.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, or they don't ever see them. It doesn't matter. You know,
it's all guilt
it's
driven.
all guilt.
It's true.
I don't know if that's like the driver for performance. So
Well-
they'll be the best mother they can be.
That's that. Just like we were talking about last night. You know, women operate and as like what their success level is as a mother, a caretaker, a caregiver, a nurturer to their husbands, to their families. Men are driven by their earnings, how much power they have, you know, those kinds of. So there are markers for women and there are markers for men.
Yeah. It's
And they're
good.
different, you know.